Hello and welcome everyone to this slightly different leather crafting video. Because for this one I made several projects, but only one of them are recorded in detail. This is the axe holster that I'm currently working on in the video. There are reasons for this madness, and this is because I visited a Renaissance fair in Hämenlinna, which I wanted a few items for. Meaning that this video will be split up into three parts. First is the making of the axe holster, then the showing of all the things I made, and lastly some footage from the Renaissance fair. The timestamps for the two other parts are on screen now, but let's get into the making of. I started with the outline of the axe head and added 1 centimeter extra on the bottom and front part of the axe for stitching and extra wiggle room. After that I cut out and drew a finished pattern onto the actual pattern paper. I doubled it to make both the front and the back side of it. This way it can be made from one piece of leather, which avoids extra stitching. After cutting out the new pattern, I put it on some book plastic wrap, which I cut out into a square. This allows me to glue it onto the leather and cut both the leather and the plastic wrap at the same time, making the process more efficient. Now it's time to add the details. Unfortunately, I only got to mark out the holes where the belt will go before the child woke up. That means the stream ended. Two days later, and we're back with another stream. The pattern I was going for was something akin to a tattoo style, a cracked skull with a rose growing out of it. I attempted to make the crack in the skull look like someone got hit with an axe, to make a reference to this actually being an axe holster. There was a lot of very short lines and small details in this pattern, so I'm happy I bought a smaller swivel knife blade before this. The carving process went pretty smoothly. Only real issue was that the leather was a bit too wet when I started, but I was solved with patience. It's hard to see any big changes, but it really started to pop when I started punching in the textured background. Under the third stream, it was dried and nice. The only coloring I added to this piece was the eye and nose hole, as they disappeared in the details without. Then I was on to sewing. So I always start with making a groove for the stitch to sit in, and then I folded the leather and taped it together so the holes would line up after getting punched. I did the back groove after the hole punching to see exactly where the groove should go. And I'm still gonna trim the edges of the sewing to make the edges line up better. Then I finished cutting the belt loops and finished sewing. Edge trimming was next on the list. With some sandpaper the edges became even, enough to move on to the edge beveling. And since I did the mistake of burnishing before staining once before, we do that now. A dark brown vintage gel was applied, making it look older and make all the details in the carving stand out. Then we burnished the edges and add a finishing coat, and we are done. On to show and tell. Hello! Me here. It's Big Friday. I'm gonna show you all the things I actually made for the Renaissance fair. Here now. I just ended the stream where I finished this axe holster. We're gonna go the axe inside here. Gonna hold and sit on the belt with these fasteners. Then I actually made 3 of these belt bags. You might have seen them on Instagram. So the same thing, kind of fasten and then hold through here. That's one was mine. Then I made a very basic one for my friend. There's no engravings on that one. And black stitch instead. And then I made a very fancy one for my wife. She actually designed this pattern that goes around with a bee on top, and it has these kind of pressure buttons instead. That's one of them. I should focus on this camera instead. But yeah, and then I also made one I had last year was this, well, caress. It's a caress, it's called. And this one will also be gifted to my friend who's getting married this year. So with this bag and this thing will be his wedding gift. Well, it will get a bit early, but I mean, we're gonna go on the Renaissance fair in a few days, so he needs it then. But anyhow, Here should be some footage of the Renaissance Fair. But on to the actual Renaissance Fair. It's called the Hämen Medieval Festival, or Hämen keskiakafestivaali in the native Finnish tongue. It's Finland's biggest Renaissance festival or medieval festival that attracts over 30,000 people every year. It was earlier this year than usual because of some renovations to the castle grounds where this festival is being held. But what was good, and here's a few clips from there. Our first stop after a very long and early car journey was a Buhur tournament. This was probably also the highlight for us on the festival, as we have never seen one before, and they did put on a show. It was a team tournament between 4 to 5 people and 4 teams in total. It was already fun in the beginning, but when the final round started, they really put out everything they had to it and got a lot more brutal. Unsure who won in the end, but it was fun to watch. After this we went and found something to drink because it was 27 degrees Celsius outside. And while the event is open, there's always a live band playing music on the central station tavern area, which just adds more to the vibes. We also found some snacks. Here's me in my outfit, and you can spot the bag I showed earlier. While we watched some very far away footage from jousting, I can mention that the festival is split up into different camps and districts. The Buhur tournament was in the Häme castle grounds, then there's the tavern area with drinks, food, music, etc. Horse area for jousting, of course. Market district for sellers, enchanted forest for, well, the vibes. Reenactment camp, and the Viking camp. So there's definitely a lot to see and a lot of stuff to buy. That is a quick summation of the festival. I do recommend visiting it. And while we watch some sheep, I want to thank you all so very much for watching. Until next time. See ya.